What is going on, SoFi fans? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. So SoFi is taking a little bit more of a tumble today, but I want to break it down on some of the data points. And despite the volatility, a lot of the data points are still very, very optimistic. So I want to go over some of those as well, give you my viewpoint on where I see things going, at least in the short term. So I'm going to go over all that. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And with that said, let's get right to it. So currently down 2.94%, a little bit fairly okay for volume. So 38 million shares being traded, 40 is the average. And as you can tell, a lot of volatility. So a high of $9.99, a low of $9.37. And in reality, the broader market is just selling off. So nothing really specific to SoFi because there is no recent SEC filings, no press releases, nothing along those lines. So it is just merely following the broader market. But despite that though, you do see a nice good amount of bullish, for instance, data points, one of which is options activity. So today there was a grand total of $12 million in calls being purchased versus 3.37 million in puts. And as well, a grand total based on all the options today, 79% of all of that is bullish. So behind the scenes, this is very, very good and clearly points to that SoFi is going to continue to trend up. Keep in mind, I'm not a financial advisor. You guys always do your own due diligence, but keeping in line with options, if you are looking right here, so this is all the calls, strike prices, expiry dates, it is anticipated to go somewhere between the $10 to $11 range by the upcoming earnings. So of course their earnings is on July the 31st. So a lot of good momentum behind the scenes leading up to that. And like I've said on the last couple of videos, I do realistically see up until obviously leading up to the earnings, it reaching potentially around 11. And then at that stage, depending on what is said from their earnings, that will kind of dictate where things go. But for instance, looking here, you do see a couple of recent analyst ratings. I don't believe I did bring this up on my last update, but 𝗪𝗧 does have a 63% success rating from Bank of America. They did recently, it looks like 3 days ago, give a $10 price target. So in reality, I think that's a fairly good thing. Definitely, I would take 63% of a success rate over, for instance, David, who is from Wedbush, who has a 38% success rating, or even right here, Jeffrey from Morgan Stanley, 25% success rating. So I feel that a lot of the analysts are going to really rush into SoFi and give a lot higher price targets after the Q2 earnings. So let me know you guys' thoughts on that in the comments below. And of course, when it comes down to the upcoming Q2 earnings, a lot of people are going to be watching the member growth. And within Q2, they did raise the APY as well on the savings a little bit higher. So of course, that's going to result in a little bit more attention from members or potential members. And looking at web traffic, that's usually a very good indication as well to kind of determine member growth. So for instance, in June, there was 6.5 million as far as web traffic to SoFi.com, 6.7 million in May, and 6.2 million in April. And in comparison, well, basically this time last year, it was in the 1 to 2 million. So a lot more eyes and attention are on SoFi. But like I've said, when it comes down to the earnings, if member growth goes up, that means products also go up and also deposits. So of course, that's a very beautiful domino effect. So I do feel that this upcoming Q2 earnings is going to be very, very good. But when it comes down to it though, looking right here, big money. So big money isn't necessarily buying today as much as they once were, which is probably why we aren't over our average as far as, I guess, the volume, but still some fairly big transactions. So as you can tell, based on the bid, the ask, and the selling price, majority of these are buys, but there is some sells. So just be aware that as well. If you're looking here, number of retail investors are down slightly today. So it looks like big money isn't necessarily buying SoFi as much as they once were. Similarly, retail isn't as well. So give yourself a shout out if you, for instance, are one of those individuals that did buy SoFi today, or where do you guys see things going, at least in that kind of circumstance. Looking at stochastic, it is currently at 84, which can be seen as a little bit more overbought. So technically, based on the charting and the technicals, it does need to pull back a little bit just to gain a little bit more additional strength and support before it does trend up. But like I've said in the past, I do feel that SoFi has just been suppressed pretty significantly. And even looking here based on the latest Morningstar report, it does show the fair market value for SoFi being $14. So of course, just do your own due diligence because I'm not a financial advisor. But with it being at $9.56, so it looks like the market actually just closed on a side note, but $9.56, it is currently between the P and the R1, which in comparison to a lot of other growth stocks, it's not doing too bad. But $8.40 is that next big support, and $9.78, which it did technically break past today briefly, but didn't really hold. But $9.78 is that next big resistance that you need to watch for. So like I said, behind the scenes, there is a lot of good bullish signals that's kind of still very much apparent despite the volatility and pullback today. So let me know you guys' thoughts on SoFi, and are you buying, are you selling? What is your take, for instance, on SoFi, and do you agree with me? Do you think it's a little bit too far-fetched, or do you think that $11 is kind of realistic for a price target for SoFi, whether it be close to or post Q2 earnings? So let me know you guys' thoughts. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And one final thing I just wanted to share with you, even though it is technically not really related to SoFi, but there's a good promo with Moomoo. All you have to do, click on the link in the description below, create a free account, throw $100 at it, and you get 5 free stocks. So just take advantage of that because each stock can be valued up to $2,000. So not taking away from SoFi or anything, but just take a look at that promo. It's pretty good. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that said though, I appreciate all of you guys watching, and let's all make a lot of money on SoFi.